What's up, LTD addicts? Today I'm going to show you how we put together this super effective and, in my opinion, very helpful Black Friday's deal page over here on the thatltd.life website. Now, we're using a plugin here, and I'm going to show you how it works. I remember when I first heard about this plugin, I'll pull up their sales page here. This is called Ninja Tables Pro. I first heard about it, and man, even just I felt like Jim from The Office talking about paper. Tables? Really? You're going to put me to sleep? And then I found some actual utility from it, and my eyes kind of opened to the possibilities for what you could actually do with tables. Now let's talk about tables, because when I think of tables, I think of spreadsheets, and I immediately get bored. Now, the power behind Ninja Tables Pro is that I can take this spreadsheet and automatically transform it into a website, just like you just saw. Now, this is actually our all AppSumo deals page. I'm going to show you that here. We've got this page right up at the top of our menu. This is all of the current AppSumo deals. So people that are fans of the channel, they want to just quickly get a look at what deals are on AppSumo and click through our links. Here is a resource to be able to do that, help support the channel. And this is actually updating live from this Google Sheet. You can see I named it Live on Site because we have a small team here that helps me out with the channel. And as we update the deals, we want to make sure that we're not accidentally putting anything in there that can't go live. So we've got that available, and you don't need to log into WordPress. You just have to share a Google Doc, and it automatically goes into this website. So super cool. Enough talk. Let me actually show you how this thing works. So let me get logged into the website, and I'll be right back. All right, so here we are in the back end of Ninja Tables Pro. Now you can see I've got the two tables here that we've talked about. We've got the all AppSumo deals and the Black Friday deal list. Let's go ahead and look at the all AppSumo deals just to see how this is set up here, get an idea of how you might actually want to use it to present information on your website. Now, I remember as we're going through this, I remember doing websites back in the early 2000s or maybe even late 90s, and pretty much all websites were designed with tables back then. Of course, there was no mobile responsive, there's no phones. We literally designed things using tables, and then we figured out, you know what, this is not a good way to do things. But it turns out there is still a use case for tables. And other times I've used plugins like add-ons for Elementor to try to do tables. It's just really tedious, really slow. There's nothing quite as powerful as just using a Google Sheet or an Excel doc or something like that to be able to get information in quickly. So when I found out about this, I was really skeptical that it would work as well as it does. All right, so right here we have the option to edit the table settings. Now, really what this is going to let us do is hide certain columns. So maybe you have a column over here in your spreadsheet that you don't want to present to the public. You could turn that one off so that only the ones that you want show up on your website. So right now we have them all turned on, but maybe you have like a notes section or something like that just to communicate internally. That would be easy to toggle on and off. All right, so let's close that up. And then we've got some general settings for each column right here. So as an example, this is obviously a button. So, if I go to the page over here, I just have the list of the links. So let's go back and see how this works. I'll click on the little gear icon, and then I have this data type right here. Right now I have it set to button, but there are other data types. You just do regular text. This would be a single line versus a text field, HTML, numeric value, date, so that it's properly formatted. I'm actually using the date on the Black Friday's deal page. But right now this is set to button, and then there's some configuration options, right? You can change the style of the button. And then there's this responsive breakpoint. Now this is really interesting because what you can do is, if I click on the drop down here, what you can do is you can have certain columns hidden on certain devices. And you can also do this option here where it says initially hidden, or you can hide the column completely. So, all right, so let's talk about totally hidden on all devices. Now, isn't that the same thing as what we just saw when we went back here? Let me click out of this, and we're in this setting, right? Isn't that the same thing? Well, let me tell you, it's not. It's actually really cool because there might be a situation where you want to totally hide a column from displaying on devices, but you still want to use that information for filtering. And that's exactly what we're doing here. If we look at the all AppSumo deals page, you can see we have the type right here. That's the type, genre of deal that it is. And if we go ahead and look at that column, you can see that right now it is hidden on all devices. And if we go look at the deal page, you'll see that that column does not show up in the table, but we've got this category drop-down menu right here where you can filter out the items. So we're kind of tagging each listing by category, and then people can see, oh, I only want to see web development deals. Well, here are the ones that are currently available. I think this is super powerful, really, really cool stuff, kind of exciting. One thing I didn't mention is that you can sort these, right? So these are completely sortable. I can sort them alphabetically. If there was a date, I could, sort them by date, start date, end date. So really, really customizable in terms of the drop-down menus here. So how do you create the filters? Well, it's actually really easy. You'll just go over to table configuration and then go down to where it says custom filters. And you can see right here, I've got my category filter. Let's open it up and look at how this is set up. So I just called this category and it's got the filter label, the same thing. This is kind of for internal use, but it also will be what it's displayed in public here. So this will show on the table filter here. Then you have the UI type. How do you want the filter to display? Right now I have it as a drop down, but you could do a radio button or a checkbox. And that's interesting because you can also have the ability to select multiple items at the same time. So if I do this, now that's actually going to turn into a checkbox, even though it's a drop down. In fact, why don't we update that? And I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like now that I've enabled multiple categories. Let's refresh the page here. And now I've got a little checkbox next to it. So I want to look at all SEO and marketing deals right now. And there we go. We've been able to sort through the data really, really quickly. That would be really hard to do. Even if you're pretty good at Google Sheets, it would probably take more time than just setting it up inside of Ninja Tables. Of course, we want our tables to look good, and they've got a lot of built-in design options here. So right now I'm using their styling from Bootstrap 4, and I can go right over here to where it says table colors, and they have several predefined options. Now these aren't my favorite. I'll be honest here. Some of these designs, they're just plain hard to read. So the good news is you can customize them to be anything that you like. I mean, these are kind of goofy in my opinion, like very, very vibrant. We've got gray. This is a little bit more usable, although I almost always prefer white on dark background. It's just easier for everybody to read. So gray and black, I guess, are the two that might stand out as actual usable versus just default, which is what I tend to stick to. But the good news is you can completely customize this. So you can go over here where it says custom scheme, and you can set your own background colors, own text colors on a case-by-case basis. So that is going to be, someone out there is going to be very happy that they have the ability to make it fit exactly with their brand. For me, I'm totally fine just leaving it with one of the predefined default styles. I think this is good. It's usable. There's the option to turn on and off this hover. You can see as I go over the deal, it hovers, and that is really easy to do. Under styling here, we have a bunch of options that we can choose. So the one that controls the hover is right over here where it says hover rows. So that's that option. We can also do things like hide the borders. You can turn off this striping if you want to have them all be the same color. Now, I think that's a lot harder to read, so I like having the striping on. We could put a border on. Actually, it looks like the border right now is set to be an empty color, or like a transparent color. So it's just making the table smaller. We can also do what's called a small table, which will condense the margins and make the information much tighter together here. So I'm going to leave all the settings as they were because I think they're usable, but it is mobile responsive. We can change this for tablet mode as well as mobile mode right here. So really good to see. Now, obviously, I've been talking about linking this up with a Google Sheet, and I do think that is the most powerful way that you can use it. However, you don't have to. You can create a table from scratch and do front-end editing. I'm not really going to cover that here because it's pretty much what you'd expect. You're just entering in data into a table that's not linked up to a Google Sheet. So if it's important to you that you're not a Google user, but you still want to get tabular information out onto your website, that is totally doable. I'll show you how you actually link up to the Google Sheet. I forgot to mention that earlier. You'll be right under the table rows. We open up the edit settings right here, and then here is where you grab the columns right there, and you'll just hit update settings. Now, if you didn't want to have this sync to a live sheet, because remember, any changes that happen here will show up on Ninja Tables after about 5 minutes or so. It's got about a 5-minute cache. So if you just wanted to import some information, you'd be able to do that over here. You'd be able to import data. Now you can see that it says I can't because I'm set up to use an external source, but otherwise you'd be able to use a CSV or an Excel sheet would be able to be imported very easy. And if you're done editing your your information, you want to save this data but pull it off the net, of course, you can export the information as well. Your format choices here are CSV and JSON. All right, so time for my final thoughts on this one. I'm excited about a table plugin. This is from the same developer, by the way, as my previous review on Fluent Forms. This actually was the plugin I was exposed to first from them, and it got me excited to try out their form plugin. So the fact that they're able to take two topics, which are pretty boring, forms and tables, and make them both accessible and not sleepy is very impressive. You know what? I like Ninja Tables more than I even like Fluent Forms because it fills such a unique use case. Nothing else out there is quite in this ballpark or quite this good in my opinion. So I'm going to give Ninja Tables a 9.6 out of 10. It really is a home run if you need to display tabular data on your website. All right, that's going to do it for this review. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment down below. Give this video a like if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next review.